Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today's a very special one because it will be my first Genshin Impact video. Yes, I'm riding the hype train for the first time since MapleStory 2, and I'm gonna start making videos on this game. And I figured, what's a better way to start than with the first impressions video? Unfortunately, I started about a week late because I actually didn't keep up with this game during the development cycle, so when Gold Masters came out last week, I had no idea it was a PC game, and I have an iPhone 6 because I just can't bear to part with the headphone jack. Yes, I know you can get an adapter for the newer phones, but sometimes I like to use both the charger and headphone at the same time, okay? Sue me. So it wasn't until literally a couple days back when someone in the comments told me that they had a PC version. So I was like, holy crap, what have I been waiting for all this time? I was considering upgrading to an iPhone 11 purely for this game. At the time of this recording, I've been playing for roughly about 2 days, and so I haven't gotten too far into the game yet, only about Adventure Rank 10, but about 5 to 6 hours of gameplay, so I think that's a decent amount of time. My first time streaming was actually a ton of fun, got to see a bunch of familiar faces and a bunch of new ones, so I hope you guys are looking forward to future videos I have planned. I understand a lot of channels already have been making videos on tips or guides and such, but you know me, I've always enjoyed making videos on any game I play, and from what I can tell, this game has a ton of potential. That being said, I'm being cautiously optimistic about Genshin Impact because while so far it's got me hooked, I've made the same mistake of going too ham into a game thinking it would be the one to replace MapleStory. In fact, I did it twice, MapleStory 2 and Cube World. So I don't want to invest too much energy and emotions into this game until I'm 100% certain that it's not just one of those games that gets overhyped and fails about 3 months later. But I've had a ton of history with gacha games, having played them for well over 4 years now, and yes, admittedly I consider myself to be a whale at most of them, so you'll be happy to know I'll be likely doing a bunch of videos where I try to pull rare units. If you'd like to support these videos, by the way, feel free to subscribe to my channel, maybe consider checking out my live streams and donating to my Patreon. All donations, of course, will go right back into the game so I can make more content. Anyways, the long ass intro aside, let's get into the actual game. The first thing that really got me surprised is that Genshin Impact is probably the first gacha game that has a PC version, at least the first one that I've played. Most of them are mobile. It's also got one of the biggest initial releases I've seen in years, over 10 million global pre-registrations, making it the biggest international launch for a Chinese game, I think, or maybe just any game. So far it's delivered on the hype. Just in case you're still on the fence about whether or not it's worth playing the game, well, first, it's a free-to-play game, so you don't have to worry about losing anything by giving it a try. However, the nature of gacha games is that they have a much faster and more consistent uploading schedule than standard games. So while at first glance there doesn't seem to be too much content, maybe only about 40 hours or so, depending on the release cycle, which is usually weekly, bi-weekly, very rarely it's monthly, there should be a lot more on the way. Let's establish this right now, the graphics are wonderful. I'm not the type of gamer who puts graphics at the forefront of enjoyment because there are tons of wonderful games that don't have AAA photorealistic visuals, although MiHoYo reportedly has had a marketing budget of over 100 million for the game, not even counting the budget needed to create the actual game itself, so Genshin Impact is well over the AAA threshold. While it's meant to look very anime-esque along the lines of Final Fantasy XIV and whatnot, it's still one of the best games I've seen. The biomes, landmarks, characters, environments are all gorgeous. You can literally take a screenshot anywhere using the game's built-in camera mode, and it can be used as a wallpaper. They definitely spared no expense on the art for this game, and there's very little dead space from one landmark to another. Even minute aspects such as burning grass becoming charred instead of just remaining bright green is wonderful attention to detail. Not even just the visuals, even other front-end stuff such as the voice acting, the animations, and the music all fit the game's essential experience perfectly. I know to some, the storyline cast may seem a bit archetypal. The main characters literally get isekai'd into the world. You got your stoic, serious, and dutiful captain who's obviously just another Saber clone, your tall, dark, handsome, edgy, everyone is trash beneath me rogue swordsman. Then we have the wide-eyed, energetic, and uptight newbie who honestly reminds me of Mei from Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. And then of course, to round out the fan service, we got our thick, salacious Ada Onesan. But you know, it's anime, what do you expect? There are stereotypes because we love them so much. As for the gameplay itself, it's about what you would expect from a gacha game. You have in-game currency that you can obtain usually through quests and rewards or through microtransactions, which you can then use to summon more of these units or heroes. In this game, the summoning system is called wishes, but if you played one gacha, you can understand everything else. I haven't been able to play Honkai Impact, but from what others say, it's relatively the same in terms of pricing, although it's not nearly as generous as some other games with much more accessible summons, and the drop rates are a little steep, but they make up for it with a pity system which guarantees a high-level unit after a certain number of pulls. I've already spent a bit of money on the game, but in my personal opinion, if you want to enjoy the most out of Genshin Impact without sending your wallet to hell, the only thing you should buy is the monthly pass Blessing of the Welkin Moon, which is only $5 a month, not bad at all. The rest you should just play the game and earn as you go, In fact, you can complete the entire game using just the main story units, but if you want to pull a lot of units still, to my knowledge you can earn 20 free pulls per month, which may not seem like a lot, but at the same time it's not that bad either. We're not even counting the first initial completions like getting your adventure rank up and stuff like that. Other typical gacha game functions are present as well. You can equip your characters with gear that can be enhanced and strengthened, while also strengthening your own characters through leveling and using duplicate units to make that one stronger, which is normally known as limit breaking. This also means you can't have two of the same unit for this game, so you don't have to worry about getting multiple dupes from multiple characters, just have to focus on one. Combat as a whole is pretty intuitive. If you played any action RPG hack and slash games such as Nier Automata, Blade and Soul, what have you, you can figure out the rest quite easily. The cool thing about this game is that you can swap between your party members to chain cast abilities and combos for extra cool effects. Each character comes with their own unique special ability as well as an element: fire, water, wind, lightning, nature, ice, and earth. So there's a lot of depth when it comes to how you can build your team composition and how each unit synergizes with each other. Most of the gameplay from what I've experienced so far is very MMORPG-like. You have your main story quests, but also diversions here and there you can do for some bonus rewards and experience. The game rewards you for going out of your way to explore the open world with lots of Easter eggs, secret treasure spots, and even quests that straight up demand you to travel to places you normally wouldn't. In other words, it gives you just as much incentive to do side quests and wander about as it does for the main storyline. In fact, most players I've talked to so far have said for every 1 hour of the main quests they do, they spend roughly about 4 to 6 hours running around and checking out what there is to find. I've only been able to play the game for 2 days, but so far a lot of the bare foundation of the game has been laid out very firmly by establishing the important details and then building on top of them. The biggest grievance I think players have is the apparent lack of multiplayer gameplay, since many players did expect this to be an MMO, not a single player RPG. Although there still is co-op mode past Adventure Rank 16, it's not a full-on multiplayer game where you can run around the wild and see other players hanging about. Then again, gacha games were never really a good idea to be multiplayer because even the most free-to-play friendly ones have pay-to-win aspects to the game, so it would probably cause more frustration for the F2Ps if pay-to-winners ran around KSing everyone or something. It would be nice to see a PvP system added to the game if there isn't though, because the vast amounts of combinations and creativity you can tinker around with are enough to make me want to try to become a top level player in this game and kick everyone's asses. I will say though that the user experience has a few janks. For one, there's no borderless 1920 1080p resolution, so every time you click off the screen, if you have multiple monitors, you have to manually click back into it because the game minimizes. Secondly, there's no way of muting the audio when clicking outside of it, which means if you want to AFK for a bit to do something else on your computer, you'll have to mute the in-game volume and turn it back on when you decide to keep playing. Also, for some reason, you can't remap hotkeys. Thankfully, the developers know what the general gaming population's preferences for key bindings are, but still, it would be nice to change the settings to your comfort. Apart from that, a few things about the game are not as explicit as they should be, which ordinarily isn't a problem for most gacha players because we know the fundamentals, but for brand new players experiencing a gacha game for the first time, they may not know much about things such as limit-breaking characters, enhancing equipment, or resource management, which is a huge pitfall early on. Fortunately though, many of the mechanical issues can easily be mended with a patch or two, and the content community is hard at work digging for much needed information to share to the public, myself included. In fact, I plan to release a beginner's guide on the game really soon since, you know me, I go hard on every game I play. Overall, I'm very pleased with this game, and while again I'm being more cautious so I don't make the same mistake for a third time, I'm really looking forward to seeing this game become part of my lifestyle. I love the aesthetic, the gameplay feels intuitive, and it definitely surpasses any expectation I had for what defines a gacha game. Although, when you have several $100 million for a budget, that's more the rule than the exception, but job well done, miHoYo. If you are doubtful about whether you should sink your teeth into the game, trust me, it is well worth a go. Again, it's free to play in the sense that you don't have to pay anything to download it. I know not everyone is into RPGs, and even fewer are into anime RPGs, but if you're looking for a nice change of pace, I can't think of a better game coming into the fall. Hopefully this video was enough to convince you on the subject at least. By the way, I plan to make a lot of videos about the game, especially informational and guide videos. I may not be a top level player, but if you're new to my channel, feel free to check out my previous videos leading up till now. I'm sure my viewers and subs can attest to the quality of my content, and I'll do my best to deliver the same level of effort for my Genshin Impact content in the future. So, if you would like to support the channel, it would be awesome if you could leave a like on this video and future ones, as well as subscribe to the channel. Join my Discord server, I plan to open a Genshin Impact section soon. Follow me on Twitter for some random stuff I guess, and Twitch for live streams, although I do stream on YouTube as well. The links are all down below, but that's gonna be it. Thank you all so much for watching, and here's to a new future on this channel. Take care.